Good morning, beloved friend. The sky is still draped in shades of deep blue. The world has not fully awakened yet. The streets are quiet. The air still carries the chill of night, and the first rays of light are just beginning to stretch their fingers across the horizon. This is the hour before demand, before decision, before distraction. The sacred space between night and morning, where the soul can finally whisper without interruption. You did not just stumble into this moment. You were drawn here, and maybe, like so many of us, you carry something inside something that could not wait until later to be laid down. Some time ago, I met someone who was walking through a very quiet kind of suffering. She was a mother of 3, recently widowed, and trying to hold her family together with little more than sheer will and broken prayers. On the outside, she moved through her days like most people do: grocery store, work, the school pickup line. But inside, she was unraveling. She confessed that mornings were the hardest. Waking up felt like being reminded all over again of what was missing. But one morning, around 4 a.m., she sat at her kitchen table with tears in her coffee and whispered just 3 words. God, I am here. No long speech. No eloquent theology, just presence.
Dude.
Surrender. And in that silence, something shifted.
Dude.
Not everything changed at once. The bills were still there. The grief still lingered. But she was not alone anymore. Something sacred had entered the room. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you are carrying fear right now, fear that you have not spoken out loud. Maybe you are facing decisions that feel too heavy for your shoulders. Maybe the silence in your life is not peaceful, but deafening. Or perhaps your heart is tired from waiting, from wondering, from hoping. If that is you, you are not weak. You are human. And more importantly, you are seen. There is a reason your heart led you to pray this early in the morning. These hours carry weight. In the quiet, heaven leans in. This is not just the beginning of a new day. It is the beginning of a spiritual encounter. A moment when time slows down just enough for God to whisper into your deepest places. It is here, in the hush before sunrise, that faith begins to rise again. Not because everything makes sense, but because you know there is one who listens. This prayer journey you are about to enter is not a ritual. It is not obligation. It is an invitation to set down what is too heavy and to receive what has always been available: peace, guidance, healing, covering. Whether your soul feels dry or ready, shattered or steady, you are welcome here. No performance required, just honesty.
Dude.
Just openness.
Ooh.
Just the courage to show up. Prayer is not about saying the right things. It is about entering the right posture. The posture of trust, of release, of expectation. And when you choose to meet God first before opinions, before headlines, before stress, you are building your day on a foundation that cannot be shaken. You are declaring that your spirit leads, not your fear, that your faith speaks, not your doubt, that your day begins not with anxiety, but with alignment. So as the light of dawn begins to form, let your spirit open. Let this be more than a morning. Let it be a moment. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not powerless. You are invited into communion, into covering.
Babbled.
Into the kind of strength that cannot be explained, but can absolutely be felt. Let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I come before you in the quiet of this early morning, not with strength, not with answers, but with a heart that feels heavy and awake all at once. The world is still asleep, yet my thoughts have been restless, carrying worries that followed me through the night. I bring them to you now without hiding, without pretending I am stronger than I am. I feel the weight of uncertainty pressing on my chest, the ache of questions I do not know how to resolve, and the silent fear that whispers before the sun rises. I am here because I need you, not later, not after I fix myself, but now, exactly as I am. Father, you see what this hour exposes in me. You see the exhaustion I try to ignore, the sadness I keep contained, the pressure I carry quietly so others will not worry. As I stand at the edge of a new day, I admit that I cannot carry this alone. I have reached the end of my own strength, and I do not want to start this morning pretending otherwise. I lay down the heaviness of yesterday, the regret of words spoken and unspoken, the fear of what today might demand from me. I place it all before you, trusting that you are close in this stillness. There are moments when the silence feels overwhelming, when the valley I am walking through seems long and shadowed. I confess that my heart has felt fragile, easily shaken by small things, easily discouraged by delays and disappointments. Yet even here, before the light fully breaks, I choose to turn my face toward you. I choose to believe that you are present in this quiet space, that you are not distant from my struggle or unmoved by my pain. I need your nearness more than solutions. I need your presence more than explanations. Father, steady my thoughts as they race ahead of me. Calm the places inside me that feel restless and unsettled. If fear has taken root during the night, gently uproot it now. If worry has tried to shape my expectations for this day, dismantle it with your peace. I open my heart to you honestly, without rehearsed words, without spiritual masks. This is me standing before you at dawn, tired but willing, weak but reaching, uncertain but still hoping. I ask you to meet me here, in this first quiet breath of the morning. Let your presence settle over me, like light slowly filling a dark room. Remind me that I am not abandoned in this valley, not overlooked in this season, not forgotten in this moment. Hold my hand as I take the first steps into this day. Help me release control, release striving, release the need to understand everything before trusting you. Teach my heart how to rest in you, even when answers have not yet arrived. As this prayer begins, I offer you my vulnerability, my doubts, my unspoken grief, and my fragile faith. I do not ask you to rush past these feelings, but to walk with me through them. Shape this moment into the beginning of healing, the beginning of clarity, the beginning of a deeper awareness of you. I am here, Father, standing in the quiet, ready to listen, ready to be led, ready to place this day and my heart into your care. I do not want to rush ahead of you or leave this moment unchanged. I pause here deliberately, allowing the stillness to reveal what I have been carrying too long. There are burdens I have normalized, pressures I have accepted as permanent, and emotions I have learned to silence just to keep moving. In this early hour, I bring them back into the light of your presence. I acknowledge how tired my soul has been, how easily my hope has felt thin, how often I have questioned whether I would have enough strength for what lies ahead. Father, I admit that I have tried to be strong when I needed to be honest. I have smiled when my heart was breaking and pushed forward when my spirit needed rest. In this quiet space, I give you permission to see every crack, every weakness, every place where fear has whispered lies about my future. Replace those whispers with truth. Where my thoughts have wandered toward anxiety, gently guide them back to trust. Where my heart has grown guarded, soften it again with your care. I ask you to help me begin this day from the inside out, silis indi causes. Before responsibilities, before conversations. Hand ain, before expectations. Head ain, anchor my heart in you. Let this moment become a foundation rather than a pause. Teach me that surrender is not loss but safety. That dependence on you is not weakness but wisdom. As the morning continues to unfold, let the awareness of your nearness remain with me, steadying my steps and quieting my mind. I am not asking for perfection today. I am asking for presence. I am asking for guidance when I feel unsure, for peace when I feel overwhelmed, for courage when fear tries to rise again. Take what feels broken and hold it gently. Take what feels confused and bring clarity in your time. I trust that this early turning toward you matters, that this quiet offering of my heart is seen, and that you are already at work in ways I cannot yet see. Stay with me. Father, I am still here with you. The minutes have passed, but the ache remains. The weight still clings to the edges of my heart. I do not bring new words, only a deeper honesty. Something within me stirs, something raw and unmet. It is not anger, though I have felt that. It is not despair, though I have walked near its shadow. It is something quieter, a deep cry beneath the surface. A longing that has no language yet, keeps pressing upward. And so I cry out to you now, not because I know what to say, but because I cannot keep silent anymore. God, you know the places I have tried to manage on my own, the places I have hidden even from my own awareness, the tension in my chest, the tears I swallow back, the heaviness that meets me in the mirror. I have been functioning, I have been productive, but I have not been at peace. And maybe peace is what I fear losing most, because once it slips, everything else becomes louder. The noise of fear, the sharpness of disappointment, the dull ache of waiting too long for answers that do not come. So here I am, Lord, speaking what I once tried to ignore. I am tired of pretending I am fine when I am not. I am tired of smiling through pressure and laughing through pain. I bring to you the raw pieces, the confused pieces, the silent struggles that I thought were too small for you to care about. I bring you the nights I wake up gasping for air, the mornings I feel behind before the day begins, the silent comparisons that make me feel like I am never enough. You do not ask me to have it all together. You do not expect polished prayers or tidy pain. You invite me to pour out, to cry out, to bring my mess to the altar and call it sacred. So I do. I let go of the fear of being too much, too broken, too needy. I release the pressure to be strong for everyone else. I release the shame that tells me I should have outgrown these feelings by now. I release the lie that says, you only meet me in my best moments. You meet me here in my weakness, in my cracks, in my confusion. You meet me in the cry that rises from places I did not know still needed healing. I do not want to rush through this pain. I want to bring it to you fully. I want you to sit with me in it, to remind me that this moment is not wasted, that even now, in this vulnerable outpouring, something holy is happening. Something unseen is shifting. Let my cries become connection. Let my tears become release. Let my honesty become an opening for you to do what only you can do. I do not need quick fixes. I need your nearness. I do not need noise. I need clarity. I do not need to be rescued from feeling. I need to know that you are here with me in the center of it. There are parts of me that still brace for disappointment, that still expect silence when I speak. But I am learning, slowly, that you are the God who hears. You are not distant. You are not cold. You are not waiting for me to get it right. You lean in when I whisper. You draw close when I unravel. You receive me when I cry out with nothing left but the ache of needing you. So I lift this ache to you, the ache for comfort, the ache for direction, the ache for reassurance that I am not alone in what I carry, the ache for freedom from the internal battles that no one else sees. And I trust that as I cry out in this stillness, you are not only listening, but moving. You are not only aware, but involved. My beloved, wrap this moment in mercy. Let every cry be wrapped in compassion. Let every breath I take be anchored in the truth that I am held, not judged. Let this outpouring be holy in your sight, not because it is beautiful, but because it is honest. You do not turn away from this kind of prayer. You welcome it. Remind me that you are not waiting for a version of me that is more composed or more certain. You are present now, in this exact moment, where my faith flickers but refuses to die. You are not disappointed in my neediness. You are not bothered by my questions. You are not shaken by my tears. You hold space for it all, and still you draw near. God, I cannot explain all that I feel, but I know you understand. I cannot predict how this will unfold, but I know you are already ahead of me. I cannot fix every broken place today, but I can place them in your hands. I do not have to carry what you are willing to hold. So I breathe, slowly. I let the tears fall if they come. I unclench the fists I did not know were tight. I allow this moment to be what it is: raw, real, open. And I believe, even now, you are responding. Not always in the ways I expect, but always in love, always in wisdom, always with presence. Let this cry be enough. Let this honesty be enough. Let this moment of pouring out be the beginning of being filled again. I do not rush away. I do not rise too quickly. I remain in this stillness, where my voice is shaky but heard, where my heart is bruised but safe, where I am finally known and still completely loved. God, as I remain here in this early quiet, something in me begins to settle. The storm has not passed, and the weight has not vanished, but I sense a shift, a small yet steady turning of my attention. Where my thoughts once spiraled in anxiety, now they circle back to memory. Not the memory of pain, though that exists. Not the memory of disappointment, though it still stings. But the memory of you, your presence, your help, your unexplainable peace in the middle of what should have broken me. Father, I look back and realize I have been here before. Maybe not in the same exact way, maybe not with the same questions, but in the same ache. And every time, without fail. You have met me, not always how I expected, not always when I demanded, but always with a tenderness that exceeded what I thought I needed. You have rescued me from the edge more times than I can count. You have spoken to me through silence and carried me when I could not even pray. You have sent people, verses, moments, perfectly timed signs that said, "I see you." I remember. In the thick fog of my present emotions, I am beginning to see glimmers of what is true. I am not starting from nothing. I am not praying into a void. I am returning to the one who has already done more for me than I have ever deserved. The same God who walked with me through past valleys is still here. The same hands that lifted me before are stretched toward me again. This is not unfamiliar ground to you, Lord, and I am not a stranger to your mercy. I remember the time when fear wrapped itself around my throat and I could barely speak. Yet you gave me strength to move forward. I remember the season when I lost something dear and thought I would never feel whole again, but you became enough for me. I remember the days I sat in the dark, numb and questioning, and still you lit a candle in my soul, a flicker of hope that would not go out. You have been my hiding place, my steady place, my recentering place. You have never used my pain against me. You have never told me to hurry through the healing. You have never compared my process to someone else's. Instead, you have waited. You have whispered. You have reminded me, again and again, that I belong to you. Even now, Lord, I sense that this remembering is not nostalgia. It is worship. It is a holy acknowledgement of who you are and have always been. It is the slow return of my trust, not because the future is clear, but because your past faithfulness has built a foundation beneath my trembling feet. I can breathe a little deeper now, not because the pressure has lifted, but because your nearness steadies me. So, I keep drawing from the well of what you have already done. I bring to mind the moments when I thought I was forgotten, but was not. I replay the words you spoke through unexpected places. I recall how many times you have held me through storms I thought would never end. This is not my first night of wrestling. This is not my first dawn of beginning again. And in that truth, I feel something return, something gentle and grounding. I remember who I am because I remember who you are. You are the God who has stayed. Through my doubts, my delays, my detours, you have remained constant. When I have questioned everything, you have remained unchanged. When I have run, you have waited. When I have resisted, you have reached. This is who you are, not just in stories, not just in sermons, but in my own lived experience. My history is lined with evidence of your presence, and I need that truth now more than ever, not as a theory, but as a lifeline. I need to cling to the evidence that I am not abandoned, that you, God, who were faithful then, are still faithful now, that even though my feelings waver, my faith can anchor itself in what has already been proven. You came through before. You made a way before. You gave peace before. You will do it again. Let this remembrance stir something deeper than just comfort. Let it awaken courage. Let it fan the flame of belief that has been flickering. Let it call forth songs in my spirit, even if my lips stay silent. Let it rise in me as a testimony, not just of survival, but of sacred companionship through every high and low. You do not grow weary of my need to remember. In fact, you command it. Remembering is not weakness, it is warfare. It is how I fight back against the lies of fear. It is how I silence the voice that says I am alone. It is how I ground myself when the world spins too fast. I plant myself in the soil of what you have done, and from there I begin again. There is something holy about remembering rightly. Not only the pain, but the provider. Not only the wound, but the one who tends to it. Not only the loss, but the love that never left. That kind of remembering renews me. That kind of remembering shifts the atmosphere within me. That kind of remembering is where healing begins. So I sit here, Lord, with old memories and new aches, with past victories and present questions. And I let it all be worship. I let the tears that come be prayers. I let the stillness between my words become space for you to speak again. Speak, Lord, not just to my mind, but to my memory. Remind me who you are. Remind me what is true. Remind me of how deeply, consistently, and personally you have loved me. And I will hold to that love, not as a fleeting feeling, but as a firm foundation, not as something I hope for, but as something I have already seen. Because of you, I have a history of redemption. Because of you, I have a testimony that still unfolds. Because of you, I can rest, even here, even now. Father, as the weight of your truth settles deep within me, I feel something shift, not only in my understanding, but in the very atmosphere surrounding me. I sense the remnants of old fear loosening their grip, the echoes of past lies beginning to fade into silence. I no longer look outward for validation when you, the author of all identity, have already spoken over me. You have called me yours. You have given me a name no shame can erase, a worth no circumstance can diminish, a purpose no failure can cancel. You have not left me to wander through this life confused or unseen. You have appointed me, anointed me,
Called.
and placed within me the authority of heaven, not to build my own kingdom, but to carry yours, not to elevate myself, but to lift high your name. You gave me dominion not to dominate, but to defend what is holy, to declare what is true, to stand unmoved in the face of shifting tides. I do not shrink under the weight of this call. I rise into it, because you uphold me. Lord, you have written my identity not in fading ink, but in the eternal blood of Jesus. That is where my confidence lies, not in my perfection, but in your promise, not in my ability, but in your spirit within me. The world may measure me by what I have done or failed to do, but you measure me by what Christ has already finished. Because of that, I am not a victim of my past. I am a vessel of your presence. I shake off the garments of false identity. Every name I was never meant to carry, worthless, rejected, forgotten, unqualified, I lay them down at your feet. I exchange them for the truth that I am chosen, redeemed, beloved, equipped. I do not need to strive for a seat at the table when you have already given me one. I do not need to plead for access when you tore the veil. I do not need to prove my worth when your cross already did. God, remind me daily of what is already mine, the peace that is my portion, the boldness that flows from your spirit, the mind of Christ that steadies me in every storm. Let me not live like a stranger in your house. Let me walk freely, confidently, as a child who belongs not because I earned it, but because you loved me first. Let me carry myself with quiet strength, not loud pride. Let humility be my robe and courage my step. Let me speak only what aligns with heaven. Let me silence the inner critic that mimics the enemy's voice. Let me hear what you say about me, louder than any failure or fear. When the world calls me broken, you call me whole. When shame says I am disqualified, you say I am restored. When darkness tells me I am alone, you whisper that you are near. Your word is not theory, it is the anchor of my soul. I walk now in the name you have given me. I rise under the banner of your truth. I will no longer apologize for carrying your light. I will not retreat from territory you have called me to take. I will not let insecurity masquerade as humility, nor fear disguise itself as caution. I will not blend into the shadows when you have called me to stand in the open. I was not created to merely exist. I was born to reflect you. I step forward not just as a servant, but as a son, not merely as a believer, but as one entrusted with kingdom authority. I speak life where there was death. I declare healing where there was affliction. I carry peace into chaos. I embody hope where despair once ruled. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead lives in me, and because of that, I am never powerless. I am never without help. I am never alone. Father, let my life agree with your word. Let my habits, my posture, my prayers reflect the truth of who I am in you. When I am tempted to shrink back, remind me of the cost you paid. When I feel unworthy, remind me of the cross. When I feel overwhelmed, remind me of the victory already won. I do not have to fight for a name. I have already been named. I do not have to earn a seat. I have already been seated in heavenly places. Let today not just be another day I survive. Let it be a day I step fully into my calling. Let it be a day I speak boldly, love deeply, and walk with confidence not born of ego, but of intimacy with you. Let the way I move through this world reflect not what I have been through, but who walks with me. Let my presence carry your presence. I may not feel powerful, but that does not change the truth. I may still wrestle with doubt, but that does not change the promise. I may have scars, but they do not disqualify me. They testify of the battles you have already brought me through. They remind me I have survived not by chance, but by grace. And if grace carried me this far, it will carry me through everything yet to come. I am not waiting to be worthy, I am walking in worth. I am not hoping for favor, I am already favored. I am not begging for a miracle, I am living in one. Every breath I take is evidence that you are not finished with me yet. And because of that, I will rise. I will speak. I will stand. Not in my name, but in yours. Not for my glory, but for your purpose. Not to be seen, but to make you known. Father, if identity gives me the right to stand, then the blood of Jesus gives me the power to overcome. As I reflect on the authority you have placed within me, I cannot move forward without anchoring my spirit in the sacrifice that made all of this possible. The cross is not a symbol of defeat. It is the victory banner waving over every battle I face. The blood is not a relic of history. It is the present power that silences every accusation and breaks every chain still clinging to my soul. Lord, I confess that there are moments when the weight of guilt feels heavier than your grace. Moments when shame wraps itself around my chest and makes it hard to breathe. But in those moments, remind me that the blood still speaks. It speaks louder than the voice of the accuser. It speaks louder than the echoes of my past. It speaks of mercy that cannot be revoked, of love that cannot be undone, of victory that cannot be reversed. The blood of Jesus is not weak or distant. It is living and active, right here, right now. So today, I apply the blood to every open wound in my spirit. I apply the blood to every memory that still stings, to every lie I have believed, to every label I have worn that you never gave me. Let the blood rewrite the narrative. Let the cross interrupt the stories I have told myself for too long. Stories of failure, stories of unworthiness, stories of abandonment. Let them be drowned in the crimson tide of your redemption. You did not purchase my freedom at a discount. You paid the full price with the life of your Son. And because of that, I do not have to negotiate with darkness anymore. I do not have to ask permission to be whole. I do not have to earn what you already made mine. The veil is torn. The way is open. I come boldly, not because I am strong, but because the cross made a way. God, teach me how to war from a place of rest. Teach me how to fight battles knowing they have already been won. Let me stop striving for what you have already given. Let me stop fearing what you have already conquered. Let me live drenched in the confidence of a child who knows their father cannot lose. When I feel accused, I plead the blood. When I feel unclean, I plead the blood. When I feel rejected, I plead the blood. The blood is not just my defense, it is my inheritance, my covering, my banner, my rescue, my anchor, my healing, my song in the midnight hour. Let me never grow numb to its power. Let me never outgrow my dependence on its strength. I do not need another sign to prove you love me. The cross is the only sign I will ever need. Let that truth root out insecurity. Let it uproot comparison. Let it crush the lie that I am forgotten or forsaken. I am the one you chose to redeem. I am the one you saw as worth saving. I am the one you carried all the way to Calvary, and I will not insult that grace by living like I am still bound. God, awaken my spirit again to the wonder of salvation. Let it not be routine. Let it not be theory. Let it not be just another line in a creed. Make it real. Make it raw. Make it rush through my veins like fire. Let me tremble again at the thought of a holy God becoming flesh and being pierced for me. Let me never forget that while I was still broken, still running, still undeserving, you died. And now, because you live, I can live fully. No more halfway faith. No more lukewarm trust. I want to burn with the certainty that I am covered, cleansed, and called. Covered by the blood. Cleansed from shame. Called into purpose. Let this not just be theology. Let it be transformation. Let it reach into the cracks of my identity and restore what was lost. I break agreement with every lie that says I am too far gone. I silence every voice that says I am disqualified. I renounce every chain that says I must stay stuck. The cross declares otherwise. The blood testifies otherwise. Heaven shouts otherwise. And I choose to align my voice with yours. I am not who my failures say I am. I am not who fear says I am. I am not who trauma says I am. I am who you say I am, redeemed, restored, rising. And because of that truth, I breathe differently. I walk differently. I speak differently. Not with arrogance, but with assurance. Not with pride, but with peace. Not because I have earned anything, but because I am learning to receive what has already been given. I am learning that the power was never in my performance. It was always in your promise. and your promise is sealed in blood that never loses its power. So I lean into that truth right now. I let it wash over every place in me that still doubts. I speak the name of Jesus over every scar, every shadow, every silence. I am not defined by what hurt me. I am defined by the one who healed me. And with every breath I take, I will remember I am covered by the blood, and that changes everything. Let that awareness become my rhythm. Let that victory be the lens through which I see everything. I am not defeated. I am delivered. Lord, in the stillness that followed the unveiling of your promises, my soul began to breathe again, not with the shallow breath of survival, but with the deep inhale of one who senses a holy shift. Something is stirring in the unseen. I cannot explain it with reason, but I feel it in the marrow of my bones. There is movement. There is divine alignment. There is a calling awakening within me that I can no longer ignore. I have wrestled in the dark and questioned in the silence, but now I am leaning into the whisper that says, "This is the hour. The time has come to rise." The weight I carried for seasons I could not name now feels lighter, not because the burden changed, but because I have been changed in its carrying. Lord, you have not wasted a single tear, not one aching night, not one longing cry. Every moment of delay was a preparation. Every closed door was divine protection. Every detour was direction cloaked in mystery. And now, I stand on the edge of something sacred, sensing the tremble of heaven drawing near. It is not by chance that I am here. It is not coincidence that I feel this holy unrest, this pull towards something more. You are awakening destiny in me, not a shallow dream or fleeting ambition, but the purpose you wove into my being before time began. This is not a chase for fame or applause. This is surrender to the divine design that bears your fingerprints. God, there were times I mistook silence for absence. I thought you had passed me by, forgotten my name in a sea of cries louder than mine. But now I know better. Now I see your hand was never withdrawn. You were shaping things I could not see, moving in ways I could not trace. Even in the stillness, you were working. Even in the waiting, you were watching. You are the God of timing, not just power. You are not late, you are exact. Your timing is not a delay, it is design. So I lay down my urgency and take up trust. I release the grip of striving and let your spirit guide me into the next step. Not with fear, but with faith. You know the path. You authored it. You are not confused. You are not overwhelmed by what overwhelms me. You are not uncertain about what comes next. While I wait for what has not yet manifested, I worship you for what already is. You are enough in this moment. You are still writing. You are still speaking. You are still moving. And I choose to walk in sync with you, not ahead of you, not behind you, but beside you step by step, breath by breath, heartbeat by heartbeat. You are awakening more than vision. You are awakening obedience. You are not looking for the perfect vessel, only a yielded one. And today, Lord, I yield again. Father, what you are doing in me is not small. It may be unseen by others, but it is not insignificant. You are rearranging my heart to reflect heaven. You are resetting the rhythm of my life to beat in tandem with yours. You are removing distractions that dulled my discernment. You are calling me to live with holy focus, to trade noise for clarity, to exchange frenzy for intimacy. You are aligning my desires with your will. You are aligning my plans with your purposes. And in that alignment, I find peace. In that surrender, I find strength. I do not need to chase what you have already appointed. I do not need to force what you have already ordained. My role is not to manufacture the promise, but to steward the preparation. I trust that you are opening the right doors and closing the wrong ones. I trust that you are positioning the right people and removing the wrong influences. I trust that you are not only preparing the way for me, but preparing me for the way. I no longer pray to be seen. I pray to be ready. I do not crave recognition, I crave alignment. I am not desperate for platforms. I am desperate for your presence. Let your will prevail, even if it looks different than I imagined. Let the wind of your spirit carry me, where feet alone cannot go. Let divine acceleration overtake every hindrance that tried to delay me. I will no longer shrink back. I will no longer hesitate. The fire inside of me is not fading, it is being refined. My yes is louder than my fear. My surrender is deeper than my doubt. And in this sacred hour, I rise not just with hope, but with holy readiness. Destiny is not distant. Destiny is now, and I am walking into it with you. Let the light of your word lead me where logic fails. Let the assurance of your presence steady every trembling step. In your divine timing, I find not just peace but purpose. Lord, I come before you with the weight of history on my shoulders. Not just my own choices, but those made long before me, generational patterns, spoken curses.
Woo.
Silent wounds passed from one life to another. And yet, in this early hour, I stand on sacred ground. The dawn has not only broken the night, but has cracked the seal on what once felt unchangeable. What followed me ends here. What haunted my bloodline surrenders now. Because your light is not just exposing the darkness, it is disarming it. And your truth is rewriting every lie that has bound my family for generations. I declare that future generations will know freedom I never had. They will rise without the weight I once carried. Let every chain fall, one by one, under the authority of your name. I lift up the names I love but could never help, and I ask you to go where I cannot. I forgive where bitterness grew. I release what once imprisoned my heart. No longer will trauma be inherited like tradition. You, Lord, are the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You understand generations. I renounce every agreement made in fear, whether known or hidden. Heal the bitter roots. Touch the aching places in our memories. You are the God who severs soul ties, who breaks hidden covenants, who restores legacies. What was buried in secrecy is now bathed in truth. I lift up the broken branches of my family tree and invite you to restore them. And you are healing mine, thread by thread, even the places I thought were forgotten. They will not inherit my wounds. They will inherit my worship. I am not the sum of what was done to me. I am the beginning of something new. The cycle of silence ends now, replaced by a voice that calls on heaven. What once was normalized will now be confronted by grace. I call forth new patterns of love, of honesty, of wholeness. I break every spoken curse that ever lingered over my name. Redeem what was wasted. Restore what was lost. Resurrect what was dead. They will walk in light I never saw until now. You are the God who reaches back through time to redeem what we could not fix. I sever ties with shame passed down like a painful heirloom. I declare that future generations will know joy unshackled by history's grief. I lay down fear that was taught to me like scripture and pick up the courage born of your spirit. Let the pages of my ancestry be rewritten by righteousness. Let healing flow where hands once harmed. Let truth echo louder than lies ever whispered. Cleanse the memories held in our blood. Undo what was done without understanding. Replace guilt with mercy and heaviness with praise. I bring before you even those who wounded me. I ask not for revenge, but redemption. Give me the strength to bless what I once cursed and to speak life where death once lingered. Settle peace in the bones of every descendant tied to me. Let laughter replace lamentation. Let blessings multiply where burdens once took root. I stand in the gap, not with despair, but determination, armed with faith and clothed in your authority. Father, release your fire through every family altar, once dedicated to darkness. Burn away what is unholy. Cleanse ancestral alignments that were forged in ignorance or rebellion. Every door once opened to spiritual oppression, I shut it now by the blood of Jesus. Every lingering shadow must flee. Every demonic legal ground must be overturned by the higher covenant of grace. Make me a walking altar of restoration. Let my prayers become the plow that tills the hardened soil of generational pain. Let my surrender be the key that unlocks doors for many. Rebuild from the ruins, not just my house, but my heritage. Pour out blessings to the 1,000th generation of those who love you. Carve a new path through this lineage, a highway of holiness. May my children and their children never have to fight the demons I have had to face. Let them rise not from rubble, but from righteousness. Let them build on truth, not trauma. Let their spiritual inheritance be wealth stored in heaven, not weights passed in silence. Let their dreams be bigger, because my chains were broken. Your name, Lord, is a banner over this bloodline. Your spirit is a wind pushing us forward. Your word is a sword that cuts through every root of wickedness. What once chased us now cowers in your presence. What once ruled us now bows to your authority. I speak to every spiritual stronghold that claims territory in my family, and I say no more. I speak to cycles of addiction, and I say you are broken. I speak to cycles of poverty, and I say the curse is lifted. I speak to generational illness, and I declare divine reversal. I speak to unspoken grief, and I command it to be met by the comfort of the Holy Spirit. This family will no longer be defined by what we survived, but by how we worshiped. We will not wear the garments of yesterday's pain. We will be clothed in garments of praise. We will not walk in confusion. We will walk in purpose. We will not hide in fear. We will shine in faith. Because where your spirit is, there is liberty. And this liberty is not just for me. It is for all who come after. It is a chain breaking, generationally shifting. Hiandu Seers, destiny aligning freedom. And I choose it today. I receive it. I declare it. I seal it with my life. God, in this stillness that hovers at the edge of morning, I come once more to your presence with a heart stilled by peace and strengthened by every word whispered in the quiet. I have journeyed through shadows and wrestled through storms. But here, in this tender light, I find a gentleness that wraps around me like a warm garment. The night is behind me, and with it, the fear that once gripped my chest. Your presence has become the dawn within my soul, pushing back the darkness not with force, but with a quiet certainty that no shadow can resist. Lord, you are the breath I did not know I was missing, the steady rhythm beneath my unspoken worries, the shelter I collapsed into when all my strength had drained. You did not demand that I be strong. You simply waited with arms open, and I learned that surrender in your presence is not defeat but rest. In the folds of your mercy, I am not required to pretend. I am simply held, and being held is enough. There is something sacred in this silence, something more healing than noise can ever bring. I no longer feel the need to strive. The striving has ceased, not because the world has changed, but because I have seen you, and once the heart glimpses the one who formed it, there is no turning back to self-made solutions. I trust you now, not just with my circumstances, but with my entire becoming. You hold the parts of me I do not understand. You know how to carry them. You know how to heal what I cannot name. God, thank you for meeting me in the places I tried to hide. Thank you for being patient when I filled my life with motion, just to avoid sitting still. In your gaze, I have seen no condemnation, only love. In your whisper, I have heard no judgment, only invitation. You did not rush me through the valley. You walked with me in it, step by step, until I could walk again without trembling. Now, I sense the air changing. It is not just morning outside. It is morning within me. What was clenched has begun to release. What was heavy has started to lift. You have exchanged the ashes of my spirit for a beauty I never imagined I could wear. I am not defined by the battle. I am defined by the one who stood with me in the fire. And you, Lord, are radiant even in the midst of the flame. There is joy now, not the loud kind, but the deep kind that lives in the bones. It is joy that does not require circumstance. Joy that flows even when the tears have not dried. You have taught me how to hope again, not in outcomes, but in you. I no longer pray from fear. I pray from trust. And in that trust, I find strength that cannot be shaken. So I lift this moment to you. Let it be like incense rising, fragrant, pure. Let it be a seed that takes root in the soul of whoever is listening, a beginning rather than a conclusion. May this be the hour we begin to live like the loved ones we truly are, not because we finally became worthy, but because you are love, and you have already called us yours. Thank you for every listener who has made it to this moment. I do not know their names, but you do. I do not see their burdens, but you carry them. May this prayer have touched something buried deep, something that needed light, something that needed the sound of a voice speaking life over it. May they leave this space not the same as they came, but lifted, renewed, steadied. To you who have walked with me through this prayer, I thank you. You are not alone. You were never alone. If you felt something shift, even just a little, hold on to it. If a single sentence wrapped itself around your soul like a promise, do not let it go. This moment was holy because you showed up, and so did God. I invite you now to pause and simply breathe. Feel the quiet. Let it settle. Let it stay. If you wish, leave a comment below. Share your heart, your prayer, your story. Someone might need the words you carry. And if this prayer stirred something in you, consider subscribing to the channel, sharing this video with someone who needs a word in the wilderness, and returning often to keep your faith watered. These early hours hold power, not because of the clock, but because God meets the willing here. And as we part ways for now, may you feel the hush of dawn as a blessing, the gentle breeze as a reminder, and the stream of living water running quietly through the center of your soul, whispering, "You are held, you are seen, you are deeply loved."